What's up, you guys? Slimmer with a new video today. I'm here to finally do an episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Yu-Gi-Oh! On NEKROZ, arguably the best deck in the format right now and the most representative. Pretty much every main event that has been held since the deck's release. People have been asking me to do this for a while, and I held off because I wanted to see if the deck really was, as everyone solidified it, to be the best deck of the format. And while a lot of people are skeptical to say that the deck, as good as it is not arguably the best deck, I feel that it's definitely proven itself as the most represented and the most consistent deck out right now in the game. So I'm not gonna sugarcoat any of this. We already know what's good about it. Some people, they say what's bad about it, and of course, there's the broken parts of this deck that come and go with, pretty much every deck in any format. So we'll start with the basics. So what's so good about this deck? Let's face it, the deck is basically a walking reinforcement of the army. It literally just, you search everything. You search with Manju and Senju, you search with Rhoda if you're running the Rhoda build. You have preparations of rights, everything recycles itself. It's like a constant cycle. And that makes the deck amazing. The ability to just banish the monsters engraved, to basically add back stuff, to get stuff from the deck. You search so much of the deck, it's just insane. The fact that all these monsters also, just resemble just some of the old like best cards in the game. It just, it's enough to make it arguably the best deck. Being able to just constantly search and constantly have that consistency, which is always one of the biggest factors in this game, is making your deck as consistent as possible. So for that reason, it is just amazing, and that's what's so good about it. And not only that, but let's face it, the effects of these guys are devastating. Trishula being like the main, just like be all end all card. A lot of people thought in the beginning you'd run 3 Trishula and it would be all about Trishula, but it ended up that you only needed to run 1 to get the job done. And the fact that you can recycle it, there was no point to run more than 1 since you could recycle it at your wish. So the ability to implement Trishula, as the card hasn't been back in years now, is enough to just say that the deck is insane. And the fact that you have monsters like Valkyris, you have Gungnir, you have Bryanek, you have all these crazy monsters, it makes the deck really, really good. Not only that, but you can also make consistent rank 4s because of Unicore and of course the searchers themselves. You can do a turn 1 Lavalval chain like it's nothing. You can use Rhapsody in the mirror match. There's so many things you can do with this deck, and I think it just makes it amazing. And yeah, Herald of Arclight and other stuff like that. So that alone makes the deck really, really good. And what's bad about it? The Silent Enigma made a video a couple weeks ago saying that one of the biggest weaknesses to this deck is also what makes it so good. The fact that you search everything, you search pretty much, like, I don't even know what the correct percent would be, but at least 95% of this deck searches, maybe 100% searches pretty much. And the fact that it can lose really hard to blowout cards like Mistake, Thunder King, and it can lose to Shared Ride, it can lose to just Floodgates in general. It loses very, very hard to Vanity's Emptiness. Vanity's Emptiness can really just lock this deck out of commission, and for that reason, the deck does have its flaws. No deck has ever been perfect to the fact where nothing could counter it. The fact that it loses pretty hard to Floodgates, one that I did recently was on Rivalry of Warlords, being used in the side deck for Cliffort players alone was a blowout because you summon Manju or Senju and then they flip Rivalry of Warlords and you're not able to ritual summon any of your guys. That can always be a problem. Of course, you're always going to have other outs in your side deck depending on what you use, but for game 1, if you're playing against Floodgates, which if you're playing against Clifforts, they run Skill Drain, they run Vanity's Emptiness, you're going to have a very hard time game 1. Seeing as though you only run 3 Typhoon, that's 3 Typhoon for 6 Floodgates right there, plus any other Floodgates that a deck will main deck, because it has gotten to the point where since the majority of the room is going to be playing NEKROZ, you want to prepare your deck and you want to change your deck to be able to go against that. So the decks are starting to main Mind Crush. Of course, they have Vanity's Emptiness. Of course, they have Skill Drain if they're Clifforts. And the fact that Mind Crush can just stop you in your process makes it pretty hard for this deck if they go up against a Floodgate dot deck. But aside from that, the deck's extremely consistent, one of the most powerful decks, and clearly solidified itself as one of the best decks in the format. Now, what's the Yugioh part about this deck? Let's face it, its price. Bryanek being $150, $160 each is insane. The fact that Trishula was like 40 to 60, the fact that Valkyris was like, I believe I heard it was like 40 or 60, it was in that range. It became one of the most expensive decks. It created a lot of hype. My brother Vexy uploaded a lot of videos showing crazy scenarios where people would take out credit cards in order to just buy this deck, where a guy sold an engagement ring to get this deck. There's a lot of just really crazy stories behind this deck in general, and eBay is a huge reflector of that, just based on the prices and the hype behind this very ridiculous deck. And I'd say the last part of it that makes it just Yu-Gi-Oh! And amazing is the fact that, let's face it, Brian Ek and Trishula haven't been back in years, and the fact that you get to use a different version of them is just awesome. The fact that Trishula, it is really Trishula. It has Trishula's built-in effect to be able to banish, the 3 cards is just amazing, and the fact that you can recycle it. It was very hard to recycle Trishula back then, unless you brought it back with Pot of Avarice. So the fact that you can recycle Trishula and do it multiple times is awesome. And the same goes for Brian Ek. Bouncing all the cards away to go for game was always awesome. But yeah, so that's pretty much it, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will be bringing more. There are a lot more decks that deserve some attention in this segment. I know I haven't done this segment in months. It's been a really long time, but I wanted to wait till the format kind of established itself. But there are other decks. There's Ritual Beast, there's Yusenjus, there's a lot of other decks that will definitely be getting their own episode of the good, the bad, and the Yu-Gi-Oh! And as well, in the description below, you're going to find my eBay as well as my YouTube email to contact me. There's new deck cores up on the eBay page. Again, it's Symmetry Cards and More. Just go and check it out. I do have deck cores for Yusenjus. I have a deck core for Ritual Beast. And I have a basic core for this deck right here. So anything you guys need, it will be on eBay. If there's special requests, just let me know. And yeah, so that's all I got to say. Let me know what you guys think of this deck, how you feel it's really impacted the format. And I'll see you guys in the next video. That's all I got to say. Thank you for watching.